Welcome to Promote, Profit, Publish. I'm your host, Juliet Clark, and Happy New Year. Before we get started today, I want to talk a little bit about our event on the 9th of January. It's our first training of 2026. As usual, always free. And we have Lynn Yuan Su, who is a seven-figure coach, and she's going to be talking to us about new chapter, new year, and mindset secrets for authors who want to lead. So we're going to be leading this off the new year, kicking it off with mindset, which is super important. If you want to reach your goals, you have to have those goals made and you have to get yourself in the mindset to accomplish them. So today I'm going to talk about what's hot in 2026 and what you should be looking for as an author. And I'm going to go over a little bit of it with you. Hopefully you'll pay attention, do some research, and figure out how you're going to proceed in 2026. So first of all, let's jump into popular themes and genres for 2026. So there are a lot of genre bending books that are going on right now. Those are books that blend different genres together. So it might be sci-fi and mystery. I actually read a book last week that was sort of sci-fi and mystery. Fantasy and historical fiction. So, blending some of that fantasy into a time and space that may be real. And all of those are expected to do well. I just recently read what I think is a little blend of genre with Michael Connelly's book that talked about it talked about AI and the implications of AI. And it was a little bit of mystery because it was a lawyer mystery, but there was some really profound concepts in there. And at first I thought, wow, is this fiction? I'm not going to give away what it is. Did he just make this up? But there's actually a lawsuit that is going on right now that pertains to the same topic: teenagers, avatars, and how these can control and sort of mind bend teenagers to be able to do things that they might not ordinarily do, like committing suicide or hurting someone else, or just getting lost in the fantasy world of a girlfriend who's on screen that really isn't there, or really isn't real. So there's a lot of things like that going on that are sort of those blended genres. And if you haven't read Michael Connelly's new book, put it on your list, because it's an eye-opener about AI and how AI can be skewed in a particular direction and biased. So there's that. Another thing we're seeing a lot of is romance and what I would call romanticity, kind of a blend between fantasy and romance. And these genres are consistently bestsellers, with romance plus fantasy being a particularly strong subgenre. So, think about that. If you're a romance writer or a fantasy writer, how can you blend the two of them together? And you know what? That is the amazing thing about the self-publishing world is it has opened so many genres to us. The traditional publishers no longer own the mass media products like they used to. So many new so many new genres and so many new places we can go when we're writing and using our imagination. Thrillers and suspense, always good sellers. Both psychological and other thriller genres are, they're pretty much popular year round. I should probably own stock in Audible because I download about 7 to 10 books a month, and most of those are mystery novels. I love mystery novels. But don't worry, I get some educational stuff in there, some political stuff. I do mix it up, but I'm really partial. And part of that is what I'm going to talk about next, which is escapism. For me, when I'm out running and listening to a book, it's an escape. It's an escape from all the chaos that's going on in the world. But escapism is big this year too. Fantasy and science fiction are both very strong genres. They're stories you can really immerse yourself in. One of my big things on the weekend is as I'm running errands, I'll go to the gym, I'll run, I'm running errands, and I've got earphones in the whole day listening to a book as I'm running around and getting my chores done. And that's why I have so many books. I can literally listen to a book a day on the weekend a lot of times. Authenticity. So the reason I'm going to mention that is I've seen so much, let's say for lack of a better word, crap lately, that is their AI written books. And as the AI books and the rise of AI comes along, people are really looking for more authenticity. They want those writers who write without it. And that doesn't mean that you can't write the book and then go back and be able to look at it in a sense with adding some touches or editing or doing something like that. Cause I do, when I write a book or when I write something, I do run it back through AI and maybe sometimes ask them for some rewrites or something like that. Perfectly legit, but nobody wants books written by AI. And that brings me to a new point. We're actually having an event next month in February, our free training. I'm going to talk about copyrights and piracy in the age of AI, because the Copyright Office will not copyright some books now because it will not copyright anything that's AI. And if you've looked around at all in the world today, the AI books, when you upload them, you actually have to tell the platform if they are AI driven or not. So it is very, very important to think about how you're using AI in this process. I've also used a few AI writing programs. I've kind of tested them out, and I can tell you I'm not happy with them at all because they sort of take my stories off in a different direction, and I can't get them on track with my imagination and where I want them to go. They may be good for writing, but they kind of have a mind of their own when they take your story in a particular direction. I think the outlines could do a better job there. So let's talk about the technology trends because, obviously we're talking about AI. AI integration tools are being used in the publishing process for editing, formatting, marketing, and some publishers are using them for automation and content enhancement. We do that a lot. I just mentioned I will write an article on a topic. I usually run it through AI. I tell them how I want that to be presented in that process. And then I go back and I put my own personal touches on it. So it can save you a lot of time. I do that with a lot of our content. Also the automation. So when you're looking at your automation and your marketing programs, a lot of that, I can go inside of Go High Level and literally be able to, if I don't like where a funnel's going, I can ask for AI to assist me and guide me in a different direction. There are a lot of programs we use, technology wise. So our YouTube videos, we put them through Cast Magic. Our shorts, we put them through Opus. So there are a lot of programs out there that can do a fabulous job for you in the marketing realm with your books that you may not even be aware of. And it's streamlined. So, once I get in it and I've used it and I love it, I hand it off to my assistants and I say, this is what we're going to do. And my assistant, I have 3 of them, are really shocked at how that looks and what time savers they are. The other thing is your formatters. Adobe has an AI component to it as well. So it makes formatting a little bit easier. It makes cover design a little bit easier. So a lot of those elements that we used to do. One of the big things I am a devotee of Perplexity and Comet. The Comet browser. I think they're probably the most amazing tools I've ever seen. I threw ChatGPT away a long time ago. I'm not a big fan of Grok. I hate Gemini. I have really strong feelings about Gemini. But I love Perplexity and Comet because they will actually give you the citations. So when I write an article, and I go back and look at the citations, I can see, does this have a bias in any way? Are these good citations? Is this good information on the internet or is it bad information? Because as we all know, the internet is not always right on it. Digital expansion. We are seeing more digital books, Ebooks continue to grow. A lot of the reason ebooks are growing is because between the price of paper and the distributor fees for hardcover, softcover books, they are a more economical way to read a lot of books. Personally, I'm not into that. I'm more into Audible, because that's the way I learn. Is I'm an auditory learner, partially an auditory learner. So, I like that. And that is my segue into the next. The audio market is growing rapidly because a lot of people are finding that they can listen to a book while they're working in the garage. They can listen to the book at the gym. They can listen to the book in the car. I could imagine if I still lived in Los Angeles and, was spending an hour to 2 hours a day on the freeway, I would love audio or Audible. That's where I listen to books. So keep that in mind too as part of your publishing packages. We love Twin Flame Studios, especially because they give you a producer and you can record your own book, which, by the way, you should if you are an influencer, if you're a podcaster, if you have a YouTube channel, if you already have your voice out there, then people are going to expect to hear your book in your voice. So be sure you budget for that as well. And I personally, many, many years ago, I interviewed Juliet Clark, and I had listened to her first book that didn't have her voice in it before the interview. And I listened to her second book that she did read, and it was like night and day. And I asked her about it because there's nothing like when you, the passionate author, read your own work. There's no voiceover person who can radiate that authentic passion the way you did when you write the book. Now, that doesn't mean everybody has to do it. Some people don't have the voice for it. I will admit that I had a difficult time when I read a book because the breath work that these actors have, I don't have it, so you could hear huffing. And I've had people that have sent me versions where they've tried to record their own, and I can hear their huffing too. So it's not for everybody. You may not have the voice, you may not have the breath, but I will tell you, once you try it, you will gain a big respect for voiceover artists and people who read these books as actors. The blockchain. So some publishers are really embracing and exploring the blockchain for mostly in the royalty area, more efficient payments to authors. Now, we haven't done that. We are still doing them the way we've always done them. But at some point, that may be the next thing where we enhance our systems and do it that way. And I'm sure it'll be much, much easier because it's the thing I dread every month because we still do them in a reconciliatory way. So we have to reconcile not only the statements every month, but what does the year to date look like? Are we paying people the right thing? So, at some point, I've got to step into this century and do it the right way. Indie authors. So let's talk a little bit about author and market dynamics. Indie authors have seen significant increases in earnings. And now more than ever, they have more ways to monetize their work. One of the things we do very well with our authors is we work mostly with nonfiction. We do have a couple of fiction authors, but their books are sort of fiction related to what they do for a living, which is very helpful. So that's where the monetization comes in. When we bring a new client in the door, we ask about what do you have planned as the big ticket item for this? Because you're never going to make a living, or probably won't make a living, more than likely, off of the $1 to $3 royalties from the book. So are you using this as a nurture tool to bring people to a big ticket item? Is that coaching? Is it a product, a service, a consultation? So you really have to look at that and make sure that even if you go to a traditional publisher or a hybrid publisher, that you retain your rights. Because we did run into something a couple years ago where the company that our author was thinking about working with, they showed us the contract and they got 30% of any programs, products, and services that this author sold. And we were like, do not sign that contract. I literally said to her, how much do you make a year off that? And she said, approximately $240,000. And I was like, do you really want to give these people $80,000 of your money? just because you published a book with them, which was already your intellectual property? And the answer was a resounding no, we don't. Direct to consumer strategies. So this is where I talk about ditching the 55. So if you work with a publisher, and even when you work on Amazon, you have to give Amazon 30%. With hybrid books and I don't know what it is for traditional because they take a cut as well. We have to give the distributors 55% of your retail price, which means right away, if it's a $19.99 book or $20, we're giving them $11. And then the book has to be printed. So finding ways to ditch that 55% is always a good idea to keep more money in your pocket. We have a lot of people who are doing it. I'll give you a couple examples. We drop ship books to events for authors. So they have signings. If they're a keynote speaker, they can sell them right there. And a lot of them have Venmo or QR codes. So the person in front of them just pays and then they get the book and signed. We have some other things where our people will go out to corporate entities. One of our clients is a cybersecurity influencer, and he does this very well. He gets other cybersecurity companies that he coaches for that he drop ships. He gets the company to buy 100, 200 books, and we have him shipped there, and he goes out and he does a talk, and he picks up more business. So there are ways that you can do this effectively where you don't have to give away that 55%. We recently had an author who cut down, if you bought the book from their website, they cut the price and they paid for shipping. And because of that 55%, they had that room in there because they ordered the quantity of books in and they were able to do that. So think about all these ways that you can integrate this into these items into your 2026 schedule, how you can up your game this year and really do this in a way that maybe you've never thought of before, because people are coming up with really out of the box ideas. I think I've told you guys before, we have our super brand audience accelerator. I just a few minutes ago ran that for an event that I'm going to be speaking at in this month. I'm actually recording this in November, but I just ran all the marketing for her off of that. And so we're planning on selling books, products, and services at the event. And she has a very high ticket offering. So, keep that in mind. That super brand audience accelerator is good for your business marketing plan, your book marketing plan, event marketing. There are a lot of different uses for it. And I loved when it gave her the hooks. They were probably the 10 best hooks I'd ever seen. And I know she's going to use that top one, which I won't share because I don't want to get in the way of her marketing. But, keep all these ideas in mind because there's so much out there that's running on AI now that's going to streamline your life and make your marketing and reader connection much, much easier. So, all right, you guys, see you next time. Thank you.